In today's video, I am going to be breaking down Michigan's 4-out basketball play. This is called a chin because in the 4-out, when you have the high post player in the 4-out, this is chin. So basically, this is what we are going to be breaking down today. These are some easy basketball plays that you could actually run with your team generally, I would say, from grade 6, maybe grade 7 and higher. So let's get down and let's check these out, and hopefully they can help your team win more games. Now, if you want a very deadly defense that can stop this from happening, make sure to go check out the Unbeatable Basketball Zone Defense book that is down in the description below, because that is going to be able to double the low post and trap the corners and not leave anyone open. But also make sure to go check out my deadly defensive strategies, because with those, the other team's just not going to be able to set up their offense. Okay, so in the first part of this play, the high post player, he is going to be popping out towards the point. So essentially how we are going to be having this set up is we're going to have two players right here. They are going to be in the slot. The slot is at the side of the key going up. This would be the left slot. This would be the right slot. And this right here, this would be the point. And what we want to see here is the high post player, he is going to be popping to the point, and then the two players who are in the slots, they are going to be cutting towards the rim. If they're a little bit lazy, as we can see here, they're just going to be popping out towards the corners straight out. But ideally, what we want to see is these players cut and then pop out to the corners. Meanwhile, the players in the corners, they are going to be lifting. This is a play that I personally actually run with my team, and I have my center turn and look towards these two players who are cutting, because ideally, these two players who are cutting could be wide open if they cut fast enough. But I also keep that high post player in the high post. I don't have him pop out towards the point. However, what happens next is that center is then going to pass over to either the left or towards the right side. It is up to him, but let's just say because of the video, he passes to the right side. Coming out of this option, the center goes back into that high post. This wing player then dribbles over towards the middle and passes over to the other wing who just popped up to that spot. And now this player who just made that pass is going to use the center as a back screen, and then he is going to then receive the ball back in the low post for that basket. The second part to this play is the player who is then in the corner lifts. This player could also pass to him. This could be the first option, technically speaking. This could be the second. Or you could run it like Michigan, where this would be the first option and this would be the second option. And then this player using the center as a screen could be the third option. This is totally obviously up to you if you want to run it this way. So essentially how this works is the center is going to be popping up. He's going to receive that pass. Player 1 and 2 are going to then cut. In my opinion, they should be looking to pass to these two cutters. One of them may just be open. Meanwhile, players 3 and 4 are going to be lifting towards that free throw line extended. And then players 1 and 2, after they cut, will then fill out towards the corners. Player 5 can then pass to the right or over to the left side. In this case, he passes to the right side. And then he cuts back towards that high post, because now with player 4 and 3 lifting, actually player 3 would be dribbling towards the slot, he is going to make that pass to player 4, and then player 3 is going to be making that cut and using player 5 as a screen. Player 4 could look to him as an option, or he could pass to player 1 who may have a better opportunity of seeing a better angle to pass to player 3. If neither of those options are open, player 5 is then going to be setting that screen for player 4, and we can do a skip pass over top of player 5 for a potential 3-point shot on this side. This is actually very similar to the last play. This actually cuts off. These guys started in the corners. They're kind of lifting. And they made that pass into that high post. After they made that pass into that high post, he pops up towards the point. to receive that ball, and the two slot players, they're going to be crossing and going out to the opposite corners. That's what we are seeing right here. Now again, in my opinion, if they could cut to the rim and then pop out, that would be even better. That would work extremely well at the youth level because players are very slow. So if they could cut at the same time as these guys lifting and not clog up the middle, that would be beneficial, especially at the youth level. However, now the center passes that ball back out towards this wing who lifted up, and that pass goes over to the opposite slot. When that happens, these players are now out in the corners. They're spreading the floor, and now we're getting a back screen from the center. We're getting a pass over towards that corner player. This is very similar but slightly different from the last play. In this case, the low post player who just cut and had the back screen is wide open. However, that center now kind of moves over and screens for the player who just passed to the player in the corner. I'm going to say this is definitely the number one option. This screen and skip pass would be probably the secondary option. I'm not going to say that would be open because this guy could intercept that quite easily. Now, how this would look on the clipboard is player 1 would pass to player 5, and in my opinion, he should be cutting down towards the blocks. That is my own personal opinion and how I would run it. And these two players may potentially be open. He's going to hop out because you should always, if you're a low or high post player, hop and catch on 2 feet. Players 4 and 3 are going to lift, and then because they crossed, they're going to then continue out and cross through. And now we have that pass over to player 4. Player 4 is then going to pass across the point and use player 5 as a screen. He could go in front or behind, depending on how the screen is set. And he would be essentially the number one option in this case. Now, you can get a better passing angle if you pass over to player 1, as we've seen in this video. However, this is how essentially this play would work. Player 3 could have also passed to player 4 as well. Now, if you want a very deadly defense, make sure to go check out the Unbeatable Basketball Zone Defense book, because at the top, this is single coverage. This is going to be a double in the low post, which is extremely deadly. And then down here, this is going to be a trap. And over here's also a trap. If you want a defense that does this, make sure to go check out the Unbeatable Basketball Zone Defense book that is down in the description below. And also make sure to go check out the Deadly Defensive Strategies book, because nobody is going to be able to set up an offense against those zones. I'll see you guys again in my next video. Hit that like button and subscribe.